Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to Toe Tags Metal Reviews, and today we're giving you guys our first impressions of the new releases of today, including The Great Heathen Army by Amon Amarth and Totem by Soulfly. So, I mean, it's just these two albums, but it's a pretty big day for metal with these two names alone. And I guess I'll start it off here. I started my day today with The Great Heathen Army, and you know what? Going into this album, my expectations weren't the highest, and that's because of the last song they released as a single for this album, which was the title track.
Oh, was it?
It wasn't Get in the Ring. They did
the first one?
Yes, they might have done another one. Now, believe it or not, we thought that Put Your Back Into the Oar was part of this album.
No.
It is not. It was a standalone single, and we didn't even react to it. But I liked Get in the Ring a lot when we checked it out. And when we checked out The Great Heathen Army, it just felt like just generic kind of Amon Amarth, like not the Amon Amarth that's great. Because Amon Amarth is always going to be good. They make good riffs. It's consistent. It's good metal. It's just that song, you know, when checking it out, I felt, you know, like I know Amon Amarth is better than this. So that kind of lowered my expectations. Now listening to this album, I still kind of feel, you know, that way about the title track. Get in the Ring, great album opener. Honestly, really like that song. The vocals are so much deeper. The growls are deeper than average. I don't know if you noticed that, but I found that listening to Get in the Ring, I'm like, this is just, you know, deeper growls here, which I thought was pretty cool. And so after, you know, the title track, and I think there was another track or two that kind of felt like, whatever. Odin Owns You All, I felt was a step where it was going the right direction of where I want Amon Amarth to be for me. Because, like I said, Amon Amarth, they make good metal, but it's like if I think of peak Amon Amarth, I think of an album like Deceiver of the Gods, where most of the songs are just crazy bangers, amazing riffs, and I felt like they were digging in a little bit more with that one. Dawn of Norsemen starts pretty good, but then like I found that riff just grew on me as I was listening, and it's really something you can sink your teeth into and enjoy. And I was finding the latter half of this album, I was enjoying it more and more, like, oh yeah, that's good. Ooh, that's good. Ooh, this song's good. Saxons and Vikings? What the fuck? I had no idea Amon Amarth was collaborating with Saxon for a song, and they killed it. This song was just awesome. Having the two sides together like that, hearing Saxon vocals over Amon Amarth instrumentals, super cool song. Loved that one. Track right after, Skagul Rides With Me. Amazing riff. It was like, as soon as I heard this riff, I'm like, this is the feeling I wanted from this album. Mm-hmm. When that song came on, like as soon as it came on, I just felt it. I'm like, this is peak Amon Amarth. This is what I want from this band. And the last track, I mean, wasn't anything super crazy, but it, you know, this band tends to do like a super big, long, kind of epic final track, and it was good. It was fine, but it's like, man, those two right there, Saxons and Vikings and Skagul Rides With Me, really good. But yeah, like barring maybe a few of the tracks, overall I was quite impressed with this album. I liked it quite a bit.
Yeah, I unfortunately had a pretty busy day today. I did listen to this album like 3, maybe 4 times, but I did not have time to make notes, so I don't actually have any notes. I don't know the names of the songs or anything like that. All I know is I liked a lot of what I heard. The singles that came up prior, so Get Into the Ring and The Great Heathen Army, the songs we heard prior, those are some of my least favorite songs in this album. The Get Into the Ring song, I don't know, I couldn't find a chorus. Does that song have a chorus? Maybe I was just missing it, but every time I listened to it, I was like, where's the chorus of this song? I just kept missing it for some reason.
I mean, I've only heard it twice,
but Saxons and Vikings. This is a song, okay, this is extremely rare, okay? Where I add a song to the playlist before it's over the first time I hear it.
Wow.
And this song was halfway through, and I went, fuck this playlist. That's how epic this song is. That's how good this song is. Because the riffs are just nasty killer. Yeah. Awesome riffs. And then, so you're hearing like an Amon Amarth song with this. Then all of a sudden, you hear Saxon. Biff comes into play, and you hear Saxon vocals, and they're going back and forth. I'm like, what? And the way it works too, it's such a good song, man. If you're gonna do anything before this night's over, listen to this song. Just check out the Saxons and Vikings. Especially if you're an Amon Amarth or a Saxon fan, it's killer. That was definitely the highlight for me so far, but there's a lot more for me to unpack. I wish I could have had a much more focused listen on it, but I did like what I heard through and through. So yeah, I think Amon Amarth put out a pretty decent album, at least on my first impressions for today. As far as Totem, unfortunately I had less of a chance to listen to this, so I have less to comment on Soulfly. But one thing I noticed is the vocals sound different on this album than they do on previous albums. Max sounded a lot like Jamie Yosta on this album, and I don't know fucking why.
Oh my god. It's crazy that you say that, because halfway through this album, I'm like, why does this sound like Hatebreed?
Sounds like Hatebreed. It does. It sounds a lot like Hatebreed in a lot of ways.
But it was cool. You know,
Yeah.
it didn't sound like a copy. I'm just like, why does it start sounding like Hatebreed? Because this is a thrash album that sounds like Hatebreed?
Yeah,
What?
so I'm basically getting a lot of Hatebreed and a lot of Slayer vibes. Now I love Hatebreed and I love Slayer. I also love Soulfly. So there's nothing wrong with this mixture. There's nothing wrong with what my ears were hearing. It just, maybe they're on a new record label or they got a new producer, but Max didn't sound quite like Max. And this band, the album didn't sound quite like the Soulfly I'm familiar with, but it doesn't mean it wasn't great, and it doesn't mean it doesn't still sound like Soulfly. There's some really cool thrashy solos. This album slays from beginning to end. It really does have a lot of energy and a lot of good stuff. I just don't know the song names or anything about each individual song, but I liked what I heard.
Well, I mean, this album, I will agree, is just relentless from start to finish. It is just wild, face-melting thrash metal, which also kind of sounds like Hatebreed at sometimes, which is crazy. Slayer and Hatebreed, I totally get that and I agree.
Yeah.
Regarding Max's voice, there's something I noted about it is that there's this echo that he has on his voice, which
Like a
is
reverb?
like a reverb throughout the majority of the album, which I feel like makes it stand out a little bit just from thrash albums in general. You don't really hear that kind of vocal like the way that it is on this album in most thrash. I'm not the most experienced with Soulfly. I loved Ritual, but it's been a while since I've heard it. But I'm willing to bet that this probably sounds a lot different than Ritual in terms of that, like the vocals.
Yeah.
What else? The title track has this false ending in the middle, and I'm like, I totally thought it was over, and then the snare starts coming in. I'm like, huh, the next song is starting weird like that. I look over, I'm like, this song's not even done. It's not even half. I'm like, well, they got me there. Soulfly 11, which is near the end of the album, is a really interesting instrumental interlude track, but I think it's pretty cool because it doesn't sound like it's forcing itself into the box of being an interlude. It sounds like an actual track, but it's still bridging the gap between tracks.
Okay.
And I think that's pretty cool. Spirit Animal, which is the last song, sounds like this kind of weirdly paced long song, but all the sections of it sound really cool in their own rights, especially the ending. I'm just like, what is going on? This weird kind of chill, like, groove, like, what is this? But I loved it. I'm like, man, I wish this was a song on its own, to be honest. So overall, like, it's a really cool album. Like, honestly, there were a lot of really good moments.
Well, this is a tough one this week because we got to pick one to review. Both these albums are awesome, and I think whatever album we review this time, we'll probably find a slot at some point later on in the year to review the other album because I think they're both worth checking out.
Absolutely.
So what are we doing? Tell the people.
Well, I think in this case, it's probably going to be a lot more beneficial, especially to our channel, but also for those watching that we're going to check out The Great Heathen Army by Amon Amarth. Which, I mean, you know, I guess it's the safe pick, right? Everyone wants to see Amon Amarth, but hey, a lot of you probably want
to see Soulfly.
A lot of people want to see Soulfly as well. And you know what? I really hope
that's why I mentioned we'll do the other one at some point.
Exactly. I really hope that we get the chance to check out Totem like more in depth because I really liked it and you did too. Anyway, guys, that's all we got for you today. Remember to like the video if you liked it. Tell us in the comments below, what did you think of the albums that came out today? We'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. I'm TV Fish.
And I'm Bile Self.
And we'll see you guys later.